Okay. Youthful experimentation in the woods with a male prostitute and a half wolf.
Exactly. In a pre-colonial shack.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the story of my friends. Today, in our spacious studio here in Venice Beach, California, in addition to the usual suspect, Sammy, we have Ric Krause here, who is the author and producer of the musical, The Gold Top. Rick, say hi to our millions of screaming fans out there.
Hi, it's so good to be here with Joe and Sammy, most particularly, who is a collaborator of mine on many other projects. It's like a homecoming, really.
Glad to hear that. And I moved to Venice Beach a couple years ago. I moved here from Santa Monica after living there for 10 years. A few blocks away is a yoga studio, and they were having an anniversary sale, like a 5-year anniversary or something, and like disco music and lights and smoke machines. And all that.
Yes,
Just
I
wandered
remember
in
that,
off the street, and I told this story to Angela and Shayna, but I was like, hey, I just want to go to a yoga class, whatever's next. And it was Kundalini. And Kundalini is divine feminine energy. And there was all these girls tossing their manes and gnashing their teeth, sort of like Lysistrata, the great satiric anti-war play.
Right, about no sex.
Yeah, pretty much. Withholding of sex. Teasing nonetheless. So that was my first experience. But then I centered it on classes that were more my speed. And I met Ric Krause there because, I don't know, I got a smart ass look about me or...
Well, that's for sure.
How did
well,
we
I think
meet?
our yoga mats were in some proximity. And I think, I'm going to just hazard a wild guess. You did make a smart ass remark. And I probably responded to that because we are both East Coasters. So
Yeah.
smart ass remarks are kind of, common.
Yeah. Not only are they common, but when you first move to the West Coast, I'm going to say Southern California specifically, you have to acclimate. And part of that acclimation, I don't know if it's like a loofah where you scrub off rough, dry skin, but you have to use more words to get the same point across on the West Coast than you do on the East Coast.
Fight.
The East Coast, you're just very direct. And on the West Coast, you have to encapsulate your words. So if you're just saying, hey, can you hand me that salt? On the East Coast, on the West Coast, it's, hey, man, I'm not trying to harsh your vibe, brah. Can you hand me that salt? I'm just saying. And then it's like a word sandwich.
But you have to say that without saying it. That's the whole thing. Because that's so hard about this place. If you were to say something that literal, which if you were saying it to me, I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
But that's too much. People would then say, this guy's super weird that way. It's kind of a vibe thing. You got to like not intrude too much on people's spaces, but you got to also somehow intrude anyway.
Especially in like a value exchange scenario. If you want to buy something at a store, you have to engage with the clerk. It takes some getting used to. We met at yoga. Of course, that's something that is government mandated by the state government in California. If you do come from the East Coast, you have to attend X number of yoga sessions a week, or they kick you out.
You will be deported to places unknown.
Or they need to check your blood avocado level, right? Make sure it's sufficient.
Well, I've never had that happen. I've heard about it.
That's good. That roadside stop's not pretty. We met at yoga and we got to chatting and coming across his history, and it turns out that Rick has quite a storied past.
We had been talking about a variety of stories we might chat about on this, and I literally 5 seconds ago realized that there's something that connects them all, and I'm going to introduce that theme, which is the theme of quest.
Oh.
I have been a quester for way too long, which accounts for my station in life, but I started off as a musician, and that kind of was my grounding in the creative. My mother was a musician. I was a music major, a composition major at school. For some bizarre reason, I auditioned for shit as an actor in New York and got it. I think the reason I did was that I always looked so much younger than I was that I could get the troubled youth roles for a number of years.
Oh, nice. So you get beat up by Pony Boy outside the fountain. Like, what kind of roles are we talking about?
In terms of New York, that would be soaps.
Okay.
And I would be the punk rocker who introduced, and I literally did introduce Kira Sedgwick to whatever soap that was. And so
nice.
she traveled with our band for 2 months, and I was the troubled guitar player whose name was, believe it or not, Frodo.
Speaking of quests.
Yeah. So I got those roles because I could always generate a certain amount of weird intensity and look like I was 16.
Okay.
That got me out to LA, and I had done a little movie, and like every other fool, I went out to LA.
Yeah, because you made it, obviously.
I made it. I had one movie under my belt. I was about to leave, and this is what LA always does to you. It lures you back in. So I was about to go back to the East Coast, our beloved East Coast.
Was it women, wine, or money in this case?
Well,
or promise of fame and fortune?
It's promise of fame and fortune and a rent-controlled apartment in Santa Monica.
Oh, yeah.
3 bedrooms. $600 a month at
Oh,
that moment.
truly valuable.
So I took the master bedroom, of course, and then I rented the other 2 bedrooms out. So I spent $200 a month.
Okay, not bad.
Got a beer commercial, and I got a lead in a movie called Rock and Roll Hotel towards the end of the 80s.
End of the 80s, so late 80s.
Late 80s.
We got Run DMC and Unlaced Adidas and pro wrestling. No blogosphere, no internet.
Okay.
No cell phones.
And to keep that frame, Rock and Roll Hotel had been languishing for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And the father of the star of it, his name literally was Dick Sweet.
He was later eaten by Dick Wolf.
Dick Wolf, yeah, well, as was most people, but that's another story. But his daughter, a really cool person named Rachel Sweet, had been a pop star with Elvis Costello back in the day. He signed her, and he made a number of bad career decisions for her, and he felt so guilty that he wanted to bring this thing back.
Yeah.
And Rock and Roll Hotel was it, shot literally in 3D.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's now like a kitsch thing, and occasionally some journalist contacts me and says, "What about Rock and Roll? We heard you were in it, and tell me about it." That kept me alive, that beer commercial and the Rock and Roll Hotel gig and a guest spot on Who's the Boss, I think it was.
Oh, yeah?
Between those things, I could stay alive with a $200 rent.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, not bad. And the weather's really nice.
And the weather was it was even nicer then, man.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can believe that. And then I got my heart broke.
Uh-oh.
And wrote a play.
Oh, no.
And that play somehow got me represented by the biggest agent in theater at that time, a guy named Biff Liff at William Morris in New York.
Okay.
Google that mother.
Okay. This is William Morris before Endeavor, even.
Yeah, it was just William Morris, and he was the biggest. And so...
Wait, sorry, Biff Riff?
Biff Liff.
Biff Liff.
Biff Liff. He's not alive anymore. So Biff Liff, but no big agency signs you as a playwright to be just writing plays. They wanted you to do film and TV, and that's what I got into.
Okay.
Did that for 15 years, managed to somehow not pivot in time. So I stopped working at a certain point, went to New York, got into the ad business, did that for another 15 years, had a little company called Branded Story Point, which did branded content.
Okay.
And when that folded with the pandemic, I decided I had to kind of put my flag in some territory that I was proud of.
Yeah.
And began to write The Gold Top, which has a live concert woven into its narrative. It's a very unusual form of musical.
Okay. How's it unusual?
Well, because it's not like in Oklahoma, people stop the action and start singing about something.
Okay.
This is not like that. I first thought I wanted to do something like this when I heard about A Rock of Ages, which is a classic show, and it was starting to be developed in LA. I thought, what a great idea to have a live concert woven into a narrative, but I didn't want to make a jukebox musical. I wanted the music to be original, with an original story. So I wrote the story, showcased it at a really cool recording studio called The Village, which is super iconic. We used John Mayer's studio, and the owner of it, a guy named Jeff Greenberg, who is a saint.
Yeah.
By the way, that he came to the reading is a miracle, because Jeff Greenberg he's a great guy, but he'll give you 10 seconds about anything, but then he's gone to the next thing. Boom, boom, boom.
Why I do it? Why do I do it? Here's why I do it.
A real mensch. She's known for being that for years. So Jeff came, he actually stayed for the show. And then really, he and Tina Morris, his second in command, gave us use of the Village for much, much less than anybody gets.
Nice.
And they do that occasionally.
We can neither confirm nor deny this said rumor. Hey, if they're friends of yours, we want to make sure that anybody we send their way pays full price.
Oh, yeah. And
costs have doubled, folks.
Yeah, they have. And if you do want some entree, there's perhaps a fee you might send me.
We'll have the Ric Krause Village studio discount link in our social media here.
The facilitator. That's how. Anyway.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is I got someone to write the score. A really, really talented guy named Josh Funk, and I wrote the music. He wrote, and then we got a very iconic producer named Steve Albini who produced.
What?
Yes,
I know that guy.
Yes, Steve produced Nirvana, Pixies, Page and Plant, and a million others. And Josh knew him from Chicago. And Josh, 20 years ago, had won a raffle where Steve Albini would mix and produce one track for you if you won the raffle. He called it in 20 years later, and Albini ended up doing the entire album as a huge solid for us.
Yeah.
And he's the real saint.
Yeah, and we lost Steve Albini last year in last May. I know he was big on dialing in studio recording equipment as well. The record producers from back in those times, if you were like Steely Dan and Toto and all the producers that came from their periphery, the next generation after that, you know, you're saying with the Pixies and that alternative sound, the equipment manufacturers went to these guys and sat them down and they're like, how do we tune tune this equipment. A lot of music equipment, a lot of that sound of the late 70s and early 80s was tuned to the ears of Steely Dan and Toto for some reason. And then later on through people like Steve Albini.
Yeah, that's really well put. Steve was really most of my knowledge comes through my writing partner, Josh Funk, who's a wonderful musician.
Yeah.
Steve, he was an audiophile. And so if you had to get certain guitar, it'd say, all right, you got to put the mic this far away from that particular amp, and that particular amp better be that amp because it's not going to sound good with that guitar unless it's that amp.
Yeah.
And then put the mic right there. And no, not that mic. You got the wrong mic. Get a better mic or get a different mic.
Or these are out of phase, or they're purposefully out of phase. You could go fucking insane taking advice from people how to set up your audio and get yourself in like a figure eight where you're chasing your own tail.
Yes, but in his case,
he had that experience.
40 years or plus of listening every day. He was a true audiophile. He not only did a beautiful mix, but Steve's idea was always that he wanted a band to sound like itself.
Yeah.
That was his deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like the wall of sound Phil Spector crap.
Yeah.
It was just like, what you're going to sound like, what do you want to sound like, and he'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And he did, and he made with Josh, a really gorgeous sound, and we're forever indebted to him, and we're just floored.
And we have a Sammy.
Sammy is also a huge Steve Albini fan.
He wears all black.
He wears all black.
Still in mourning.
All the time, man. He's a punk, Sammy. He's a punk. The album, by the way, you can hear on Spotify, should you wish. So all that was going really well, and then we had a theater in Detroit that was going to take the show. Oh, my God. It was going to open at a theater called Ant Hall, 175 seat independent theater.
Oh, nice.
And then that fell to, can I say shit? It fell to shit. And then I had to start again.
So what you're saying is occasionally a creative effort doesn't come to its full potential, its full fruition.
Usually it's a super big moneymaker immediately.
Yeah.
In my case, some crazy fluke happened.
We should caution any screenwriters out there that occasionally if you write a screenplay on spec, there's a small chance it might not get made, and you might not make $5 million from that screenplay alone. It's a small chance.
Yeah.
Be careful.
I mean, I think you're being a lawyer still even chancier than that. Being a lawyer is...
I mean, because how do you become a lawyer? You go to a supermarket and you have to get discovered to be a lawyer.
I'm glad we've straightened that out for all the young, impressionable minds out there, but...
Don't get me started on shepherdizing. That's like my specialty. I have a PhD in that, by the way.
Okay. Well, then I won't, but I will say that did happen, and then given how uncommon that type of bump in the road is, then we had to start showcasing the Gold Top in town, and we did it at clubs, then we were doing it at a theater, and we've been selling out, and we got a wonderful actor named Ian Ward from Rock of Ages.
Oh, nice.
He's the lead now, and we got a lawyer repping us, and we're on our way, but then now I had to find a new theater. Just in my case, otherwise you're going to make a lot of money in theater.
Yeah, just this one random
Just
case.
this one. I just must be born under
bad luck.
Must be a black cat in the room, but
hey, he's good luck. Save my life, Sammy.
Okay, Sammy. Now we're regrouping, gonna raise some dough and delay the next gig till after the new year.
Let's talk about the Gold Top. If you were pitching this, what would be the log line?
I'm gonna try to be a little cagey about that because it'll give away the huge surprise of the show.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the setup. Kind of takes a very, very...
You're not gonna sing it, are you?
No.
We can set you up.
This is expensive equipment. I don't want to do anything.
You're not gonna hurt this. These are Shure microphones.
All right. I will say that I call this an R&B gothic. So that might give you a tip, okay?
Okay.
The sound, by the way, I listened to, before we started writing, I listened to really hundreds of hours of old R&B, and I said, no, that's too dusty, that music. So then you know what the creative floor, I said it's going to be Amy Winehouse's Back to Black, one of the greatest albums ever made. And so from that, I wrote kind of each song title and what that song would be. This is the R&B manifesto. This is the closing ballad.
I see.
And then picked out a temp track from what I called the Children of Amy Winehouse. All those that came after.
She had like references.
Yeah. Duffy is one of the singers that have come after Amy Winehouse. And then Josh wrote from that. Think of that kind of post Back to Black sound with a story about people from the LA's dreamer underclass.
Yeah.
A guitar player who had 6 deals, no release.
Yeah.
Which happens, but that's really bad luck.
Yeah.
6 deals, which is all they strive for. They figure they got it made. No more riding around in a van until you're,
Yep. Humping gear.
Yeah.
Watching the singer pack his microphone up and walk away.
This guy's now renting a car so he can drive for Uber, living in some crap apartment. He's miserable.
Are you describing me specifically?
I will not comment. I want one of these guitars that you have here.
Yeah, we give one away after every show.
Well, boy. So, and there's a Strat I got my eye on. Okay, so...
She's spoken for.
So many things I want. This guy finds a 52 Les Paul Gold Top out
Okay.
in a pawn shop way out in the valley. How he gets there, I won't get into, and he somehow buys it. Has to borrow money from his ex to get it.
Nobody's ever done that before.
Of course. 52 Gold Top, by the way, is like the Great White Whale.
Actual retail price of an all-original 1952 Gibson Les Paul Gold Top. There is one on Reverb.com right now for the low price of $59,999 with a price drop from $65,000.
He and his ex get back together, and he begins finally to get the acclaim he's always wanted. He's been close to it for years in LA. When he's on the road, as he's having this upward arc, he meets this super hot woman. And of course, he has an affair with her. And we think this story is going to be about his homeboy going to blow his deal with his source lady.
Yeah.
And he gets involved in a love triangle. It's kind of a Star is Born meets a love triangle. And that is not what this is about.
Okay, good.
That's the big twist. And if you tie it into the idea of Gothic, you might get to where this is.
They're all vampires?
No, but that would be a way to go. And
if you're a hack, just say it, Rick. Tell me I'm a hack.
I just think you're maybe just a little derivative. But
I write for today's crowd, on the nose. Not to jump sideways, but I was watching something on Netflix, and one of the characters said to the other, "We know you're the smartest man in the CIA." This is a fucking drama. Like, that's a line you would put in a comedy. And then I read an article later on. They have to do this because kids are swiping. They're not really watching whatever's coming across the screen.
I didn't even think of that.
That's what I read about the why. Like, no human on earth would say that to another human, unless you're like at a Trump cabinet meeting.
Be careful.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, fuck fascists. If you don't identify as a fascist, then I didn't just say go fuck yourself.
That's Cash Patel right outside.
He wouldn't get my address correct. He wouldn't even spell my name.
That's
right,
true.
I'm not too worried about it.
Just,
so there's a Gothic twist.
So it's really an unusual story. The music kills. We are building it. The thing about all these endeavors is that if you had known how hard it was, you wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I wrote this out of a sense of need. I loved it. And then I managed to spend a ton of money to get all these things that I've articulated to this place.
Yeah.
I will not say how much money it is, but I am not in good financial shape. I've got so many things lined up, but it's just the starting line for the real deal.
We will have the Ric Krause, the Gold Top investment opportunity link on our website here.
We will.
They take Patreon, they take cash,
Unless I leave
cryptocurrency.
my phone number, because anyway, okay, maybe not.
You don't want that.
Okay.
Unless you want it ringing it all night with people imitating Chewbacca.
No. That tells you a bit about the Gold Top.
The viewer of the Gold Top comes into the Playhouse, sits down, and they're taken on a rock and roll roller coaster over the next couple of hours.
It's an immersive show. I had to mention that. We have added an immersive layer. So when you walk through the lobby door and it starts,
Yeah.
You don't stop till you leave. And many of the things you'll see in the lobby, which are set up for the show, you'll understand when you exit.
Okay.
But you're caught in the world immediately. You're involved with the show. I mean, there literally is a live concert, a series of live gigs woven into the narrative, and people get up and dance because they become the audience at the show.
Nice.
People sometimes, we have these little guitar picks with the Gold Top on it.
Oh, nice.
And we give it to select people, and at some point, somehow, someone forgot their guitar pick, and so and they called the audience, have someone get the guitar pick.
Genius.
We do little crazy things to tie people into the show.
The last showing was sold out.
We always sold, yeah.
You guys are gearing up for a next showing.
2026.
The next showing of the Gold Top will be in West Side, Los Angeles.
Yep.
In early 2026.
Exactly.
So we can look forward to this immersive experience coming to a theater near you if you've been blessed enough to live in California. The story of my friends is community driven, community supported. Do you have a story you'd like to tell or a topic you'd like to discuss? Hit me up, joe@tsomf.com.
Come see an R&B Gothic called The Gold Top, which has a live concert woven into its story that is absolutely sure to include you.
The Gold Top? Okay. By Ric Krause singing the lead.
Ian Ward of
Ian Ward from
Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages.
Ian is right now in La Jolla doing the world premiere of Working Girl. That's going to Broadway.
Really? It's Working Girl, a musical?
It's the musical version of the old movie.
Ah, okay. Oh.
Cyndi Lauper wrote the music and lyrics.
I love Cyndi Lauper, so no complaints there. And I actually enjoyed Working Girl. That was with Harrison Ford.
Back in the day.
And Melanie Griffith.
Back in the day.
Yeah, that was
and
good.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, it was cute.
It was cute.
It was like a springboard off of 9 to 5. which was
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
9 to 5, and then Working Girl, and then that Bonfire of the Vanities all came out around that same time. Took a play on that, successful city uppy
Right.
and something else. Very exciting. So the Gold Top, definitely a labor of love, and you've breathed a lot of fire into it. For our audience out there, we just tell you to never try. That's been the message of the show consistently. Don't get an idea in your head. Squish it out of there. If you do get an idea in your head and you start pulling at that thread, it's going to be hard. Each friggin' stage of it is going to be absolutely difficult. No matter what you do, if you're going to create something, it takes a lot of time and energy. And I can't lie to you, you should absolutely go do it. It's so fun and interesting and validating. It works out sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Right.
I always tell anybody who generates any form of intellectual property, it's like having a lottery ticket with slightly better odds than an actual lottery ticket. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And it's mostly because of all the people out there in listener land who simply fucking swipe across their goddamn phone on these 2-second videos of people jumping around with their tits hanging out. I might actually cut that part out. But it's hard to do intellectual work, and you should pay attention to your artsy friends. Do so now. Call them. Turn this podcast off after forwarding it to 75 of your closest friends.
Alcohol help too, by the way.
Sound like I need help right now. So, Sisyphean task, rolling that boulder uphill and having it run right back over you at the end of the day. But it sounds like it's on a good path right now, and we're looking forward to the next iteration of the Gold Top. So what's next for you?
I'm writing something just connected to what you said. Junkie that I am, I'm writing something new, which I'm loving, which is, in this case, right now in the form of a novel, but it has music embedded in it, just like the Gold Top.
In the novel?
So it's like a story, again, about a musician.
Are we talking like a sidecar? Like you need to go listen to the song while you're reading, or like music and lyrics inside the book?
The story is framed by the beginning and the end of a song.
Okay.
It took this person all this time to finish it. And it's about what happens from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And the various songs he writes in his career and what he goes through. You're going to hear various songs that are woven into the story organically.
Okay.
But it's going to be in a book form or perhaps a one-man show with, take one guess who might do it.
William Shatner.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, and without his toupee, by the way.
Rocket Man, lights, camera.
Yeah, wow.
Light the cigarette. Well, I think if those of you who haven't listened to the dulcet tones of Ric Krause as he's speaking, I imagine he'd do pretty good as also a one-man show.
At least I don't have to pay myself, or do I?
You should want to pay yourself. In fact, you should pay yourself first, they say, right?
All right. Yeah.
That seems to be where things go sour sometimes.
Yes.
So you're working on a book with music and lyrics within, and it forwards and encapsulates the story. Interesting. And then for people who want more information about the Gold Top, where do they go?
Go to thegoldtop.com.
And on thegoldtop.com, you'll find more information about the show, who's in it, some videos, and their social medias.
The Gold Top play on Instagram. That's the best. And it's also on Facebook. We don't have TikTok.
Okay. No TokTik. I don't have TokTik either. I don't like it. I don't want to have my opinion told to me that many times in the space of 30 seconds. But if you need to put a placeholder in all of Ric's stuff, come to our website, thestoryofmyfriends.com, for this episode, and you will find all of his links there.
With this chain of fools, I flipped on my little cues. But what would be my chemistry alone?
Some people are cursed or blessed with a need to go on wild-ass adventures.
It just got darker in here.
Yeah, it just got darker.
Yeah.
No, literally.
The fog rolled in. An owl just lighted upon one of the guitars and started hooting ominously.
We're talking about the Gold Top. It occurred to me this other conversation Joe and I had touched on before.
Allegedly.
Really was different but the same in that it goes to a crazy-ass quest to do something very different than this. But it took me down a lot of crazy roads. It is kind of a legendary story.
Allegedly.
Amongst the people who know me. And I kind of don't talk about it much anymore because of the jihad the government is inflicting upon colleges.
Well, just remember, audience, we are talking to Nick Blouse, formerly of Canada, and also
Barcelona, too.
Yeah, and we've been discussing his helicopter piloting days.
Right, exactly.
Definitely not the playwright Ric Krause, who owned an ad agency.
No, not the same person.
Okay.
No. This particular quest is, and this is super crazy.
Let's set the stage. How old were you?
18.
Okay, and what year-ish was this?
I got out of school 85, 86, somewhere like that.
I'm just trying to think, like, what music, when you walk into the room, it's probably something from Aerosmith.
Definitely Aerosmith, maybe even, were the Police around by that time?
Oh, absolutely. They were probably on their, was it Synchronicity album? What's the one with the little alarm code on it.
What was a popular recreational substance of that time?
In the mid 80s?
What? Just tell me.
Let's see. If you believe the zeitgeist and people like Uncle Pablo and the current spate of Narcos and the movie Blow and the movie Traffic and the movie Scarface and the TV show Miami Vice, I believe it was movies and television. No, it was definitely cocaine.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And Bright Lights, Big City. Remember that?
Bright Lights, Big City. Was that Robert Downey Jr.?
Well, it
Or
was
he
written.
less than zero.
He was less than zero. Who is the
James
writer?
Spader?
James Spader might have been in it. Bright Lights movie had J. Michael Fox in it.
Yeah.
But it was written by kind of a guy who made an entire career off of that. Jay McInerney.
Jay McInerney. Okay. Bright Lights, Big City. Then it spawned the genre of early middle-aged male white New York dudes who like people listen to when they wrote books.
Right.
And, Fight Club.
Right, exactly. Some sort of, hip urban dude for at least the first 15 or 20 years of their existence.
Yeah.
Got a lot of you-know-what
Yeah.
at their book signings. Given that was a very, very popular recreational substance, I went to the school that I will not name where I befriended a guy whose name is Johnny. That I don't think Johnny's with us anymore. And Johnny,
his name was Alias, Johnny Alias,
yeah, Johnny Alias.
What part of the world? Let's at least center us.
East Coast.
East Coast, but like, am I dropping you in a city?
New York City, which is where I'm from, was the nexus of the story. And the reason why it was the nexus is because Johnny had been a male hustler.
Johnny Alias, male hustler.
When he was 16, he began this relationship with a well-known fashion dude.
Okay.
And as sometimes happens, as I've learned in those types of relationships, that older dude kind of becomes like an uncle figure.
Okay. So old Johnny was around heels for this well-to-do fashionista.
So this person got him an education at this school. So Johnny and I met him and were in the music department, blah, blah, blah. We, of course, were fascinated with this substance.
His patron.
And his patron gave us the money to try to make synthetic cocaine. Mind you, his patron was if you were famous and you came to town, you would be at this patron's place for...
The Salieri to his Mozart.
Yeah, so this guy, you would go there and literally I would go there and there's Jack Nicholson.
Allegedly,
and we'd all be writing our names with coke and snorting it up.
Allegedly.
Yeah. That's that crazy stuff.
Put this in here. I don't want to get a call from Mr. Nicholson anytime soon unless it's to ink a deal with the screenplay.
Exactly.
Not to bury the lead there, but what slipped right past me when I was trying to remember who Mozart's both patron and nemesis was, just Salieri. We'll figure that out for you. You said you got paid to go try and produce synthetic cocaine.
Raised money to do this.
Raised money
from this one source because that was a crazy era. And and
no OnlyFans, by the way.
No OnlyFans, not yet. No. How do you do it? So we went to every research library in the East, really.
Okay.
And finally, at a particular university that I can't say which one it is, we found it on microfiche.
This was outside New York City somewhere.
Somewhere outside New York City.
You can go outside New York City and you can throw a rock outside in New York City and be back in like fucking colonial America.
Yep.
The burbs can go either way. You can either go in south, which is the hellscape of Metropolis, which is the worst part of any Batman movie. And that extends all the way to Washington, D.C. and below. Or you can go north or northeast or northwest and you can wind out along the Delaware River or along the Hudson River or up the coast where it's still nice.
Right.
It gets really nice outside the city is all I'm trying to say.
Yes.
This bucolic, potentially rustic, pastoral campus somewhere that has microfiche, which for our listening audience out there who doesn't understand what those words mean when we put them together, they used to shrink words, stick them on cellophane, and then you put them onto a slide projector, and then you look at them on the screen. And that was a way to compress information and store it before we had digital information. And if you look at any Julia Roberts movie where she plays an investigative something or other, she's a big fan of microfiche. I think there's like 12 movies of hers where she's looking at it specifically.
Wow. I didn't know that. Good for her. She's always behind her time. So, but that wasn't all. It was in German.
Ausgezeichnet.
Yes, on microfiche in German. So what did we do? We had to find someone to translate it.
What was your approach? In my head, like making cocaine is like a tried and true, like you get plants and then you step on them and then you put stuff on them and you refine it. You seem to be saying you're making synthetic cocaine.
Yes.
So no coca leaves.
No coca leaves.
Okay, so this is interesting. So you're coming up with a novel approach.
Synthetic cocaine had been around for a very long time.
It has been around.
Yeah, has been around.
Okay. I don't know anything anything about cocaine? I mean, I know what it smells like.
In the old original Coca-Cola,
Yes.
there was cocaine in there, and that
Sure.
was synthetic cocaine.
They didn't use coca leaves.
They didn't use coca leaves, no.
Those bastards.
No.
See, not a health drink after all.
Well, you know, I of course, it's good for you.
Allegedly.
I will tell you this, that to make synthetic cocaine, you have to get a substance called troponone.
Troponone.
I acquired it in ways that I cannot tell you.
Okay.
It was very illegal.
Some of the alleged ways that somebody could allegedly acquire this would be to, pretend you're a laboratory at a college or something, or pretend you're researching this thing for a doctor or something.
Right, exactly.
And try to acquire it from a manufacturer or a supply house.
Abroad, yeah.
And then, this is not like supply houses in the age before the internet. You know, you had to have paper for them and fill it out.
Correct.
So it seemed to be a little easier to get substances like this. They weren't as controlled or verifiable, I guess, as they would be now.
Yes. So I did attempt that, or somebody I know did.
Okay.
Lo and behold, I got it. And then, so we had everything we needed. We got the, I don't want to say recipe, whatever you'd call it. We got it translated from someone who very reluctantly did it for us.
Yeah.
And so we had it. We ordered all the beakers and all the stuff because it's organic chemistry is what this is all about.
Yeah. There's no danger to there whatsoever.
No danger. And we did it. And this will maybe give you...
So you're like making the crystal meth version of cocaine, whereas meth labs typically become biohazard sites for reasons which it sounds like you're about to describe to me, allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. Now, where we did it is also worthy, and I'll give you a little idea of where the area was. It was a pre-war structure that Johnny, his grandparents had bought.
Johnny alias.
Way back in the day, and they were never, they were quite old then. They never came there. So we lived
this
there.
is like their cabin?
Something like that, way out in the middle of nowhere. Redid the place. We made hexagonal doorways, and we had a wolf, half dog named Morgan who came to stay with us whenever he felt like it.
Interesting. Your spirit animal?
Our spirit animal.
He's like, I encourage you to go make cocaine.
We were living on the cheap. We were very, very good at what we called the 5-finger special.
This does not harken back to Johnny alias's hustler days. This is a different 5-finger special, also known as shoplifting.
And we also had amongst us...
Between the half wolf, the male prostitute, and the tub full of, what's it called? Troponone? Troponone.
To show you how weird he was, I'd read this book, Interview with the Vampire. And
Anne Rice.
Literally telling Johnny about it. I handed him the copy, and a bat flew in the minute I handed him the copy of the book.
So this is like the Addams family of drug making right now.
Yeah, maybe not as professional. Okay, so we got it all there, and of course, we failed miserably. We blew up beakers. Being an accomplished organic chemist is something that takes quite a long time.
Yeah.
And we just had no idea what we were doing. I think troponone was a reagent, if I'm correct. It was the vital chemical in the constant chemical processes that are changing substances.
So if you burn through it quickly...
Boom, if you blow it up, it's done.
Yeah.
So we did that.
Oh, boy.
Then life went on, and I forgot about it.
To put a finer point on that, no injuries.
No injuries.
No drugs to smell to see if they turned it into cocaine.
No,
and
never got that far.
No environmental catastrophe.
No, nothing like that. I mean, it was just
youthful experimentation in the woods with a male prostitute and a half wolf.
Exactly.
Okay.
In a pre-colonial shack.
In a pre-colonial shack.
So that's happened. I put it out of my mind. Then one day I get a call from the dean of this unnamed school.
Yeah.
The manufacturers of troponone.
Yep.
Well, they sent an invoice.
And
then invoice got to the state popo, the state police. And that, my friends, was dangerous because I could have gone upriver for quite a while.
Okay.
And that would have meant Sing Sing, I think, literally.
Is there any collateral from the Gold Top? Like CDs or cassette tapes or T-shirts?
We have the guitar pick with the gold top on it, and we're going to make T-shirts.
So for our listening audience, we're going to throw a first challenge out there. The best submitter of our flash fiction contest, affectionately titled Rick's Time in the Woods, you can take these ingredients: Ric Krause, budding chemical engineer; Johnny Alias, well-known hustler and round heels; Half Wolf and the Bat, and troponol and all. What's that stuff called?
Troponone.
Okay, troponone. These are the ingredients you must include in your fan fiction submission of 1,000 words or less.
Very cool. And I also want to add another little element to that. If you want to
It's a
wind
bake-off.
This is a sad note. Johnny, who I lost touch with, apparently went down a lot of wrong roads.
Okay.
And died evading the police. He leapt from one building to another and went down the middle.
Okay. Well, maybe we shouldn't have the fan fiction contest now that we learned that Johnny plummeted to his death prematurely.
I was then confronted with a choice.
Yeah.
They did not want this to get out to the press because it would have just taken this institution down.
How do they know it was you?
If I would have done such a thing and said I was perhaps a
Allegedly.
a
How would they have
professor.
allegedly known it was you
If
allegedly?
I was, let's say, a professor
Yeah.
who ordered this for some experiment or something, whatever I said.
Did you pick one of your teachers?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I
well,
didn't
that's
do
good.
that.
Smart.
I didn't pick one, but I did happen to have my mailbox, which you got when you're at this place. So they went right to me. And so the point is, they knew it was me, and there was a very stark reality there. And I immediately called my Johnny alias and
Yeah.
told him what happened.
Yeah.
They wanted to know who I did it with.
Yeah.
Johnny was on his way out anyway.
Okay.
So Johnny said, "You can tell him, and we'll promise never to do it again." And
You didn't make cocaine.
No, we
You
didn't.
just
but
impersonated.
We did, but in terms of an institution, that's a really bad rap.
Yeah. Well, freaking higher education's tough. And to build your reputation by only selecting the richest, whitest people you could find on earth, not having any form of equanimity in your school charter.
So really, I was super lucky in the sense that they valued their staying in business longer than they wanted me to put me in a jail. So I made the deal. It all got taken care of, and it's just an insane story from a potentially insane person.
There was an 80s movie, and this happens to be one of my favorite 80s movies. It involves Val Kilmer. It's called Real Genius, and this kid is a young kid, and he graduates high school early, and he gets sent to engineering school, and he's roommates with Val Kilmer, who's like this, cool, smart guy, aloof, can't give a shit about anything, insouciant, and hijinks ensue. And then later on, they find out that they are actually making a death ray for the Pentagon, and they rebel against it and be like, no, we're not making weapons of mass destruction because we're like believe in peace and shit. So it was a really cute movie and an interesting movie. And again, it was called Real Genius. This is on par with that level of 80s hijinks that ensue. 18-year-olds on a college campus pursuing the making of synthetic cocaine, except we promise you no real geniuses were featured in this movie.
No.
Or injured for that matter.
Right. No.
That's a crazy story. I don't know if I'm glad that you guys weren't successful. I might not have known you if you were successful or marginally successful, because one, you might have been dead, or two, you might have been dead by trying maybe cocaine that you made, or you might have been dead because you stepped on the toes of the local drug kingpins, who I am certain have had a pretty strong toehold in that market at that moment in time. Who knows? Or you might have been rich and famous, and you wouldn't have known me because you wouldn't have wandered into my beach shack after running into me randomly at a fucking yoga studio in Venice Beach.
Yeah, all those are, choose your own adventure things, which I...
Speaking of quest, that's what this episode is. Quest. In this case, side quest. Yeah.
That is the famous synthetic cocaine story. It really worked out in many ways that nothing happened. And for sure, for me, because I was under the impression that cocaine was good for you. So God knows what I would have done with an unlimited supply of that. Really.
You bring up an interesting point, and I think it has a lot to do with who are we culturally and ethically and morally. I don't know. It seems to be, yes, there would be advantageous uses of cocaine. I absolutely know they use it in surgery. They use it in eye surgery because it can help numb the area while anesthetize the area topically while not fill in their patient full of whatever. And, in the grand scheme of things, what destroys your body worse? A little bit of cocaine or a lot of alcohol or a lot of sugar or a lot of caffeine?
Processed foods, you name it.
Yeah. So I think it's anything in moderation except maybe sport murder.
Sport murder, which that's also an 80s, almost 80s reference. What was that movie? Shane Black, I think, wrote it, where the guy goes into the end zone and someone shoots him when he reaches the end zone. You know that
The Last Boy Scout.
The Last Boy Scout.
That scene was ridiculous.
That's sports murder right there, my friend.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to dime Shane Black out on because he was been a favorite. We did film podcast before this, and we did 80s action movies.
Oh, he was.
And invariably, like 3 of the movies we did were Shane Black movies, like Lethal Weapon and Predator. Let's see. Okay. This show is part talk show, but part quiz show. I've been pitting my guests against AI on their topic du jour to see who's going to survive the Great Machine Uprising. Let's ask you a few questions on cocaine specifically. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, drugs, effects, and safety. So ChatGPT already won't give us like a how do you make cocaine quiz.
They won't. Yeah,
They're smart enough about that. But if uye unawe ekme okenke uye nk ukle one the internet a. Okay, so cocaine is primarily classified as a what?
controlled substance.
A controlled substance, but your choices are depressant, stimulant, hallucinogen, or opioid.
Stimulant.
Hey, you're smarter than a machine. Okay. Which of the following is a common acute, and acute means short-term risk, of cocaine use? Low heart rate, suicidal ideation in all users, increased heart rate and risk of heart attack, or complete loss of smell?
Increased heart rate.
Okay, increased heart rate. This is probably why you say it could also be a good thing if you increase your heart rate. Just a teeny bit. Which symptom is a medical emergency and may indicate an overdose or a life-threatening reaction to stimulants? Mild headache, high fever, chest pain, severe agitation, and seizure. Fuck, I'm not even going to continue that. These questions are so dumb.
I like these questions.
Okay. Tolerance to a drug means you can perfectly control your use forever. Heroin users, maybe you should not listen to this part. The drug no longer exists. Over time, you may need higher dose to get the same effect, but the drug becomes safer with each use.
Well, I think it might be the third one there. I don't know why.
That's right. Over time, your body gets used to it, and you burn through all your neurotransmitters, and they're gone, and blah, 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 blah. Hey, kids, which of the following is a safe, legal way to learn about chemistry and lab skills without breaking laws or risking serious harm? A, follow internet forums that share illicit drug recipes, take a formal class, community college, online accredited courses, and do supervised lab kits. Try chemicals at random without instructions, also known as the Krause method. Buy unknown powders to experiment with, the secondary Krause method.
I actually was not too focused during this part of it.
Yeah.
I think that I was having a delayed reaction to all the other things.
Well, the machines aren't quite there yet, at least. They don't want us to get in any more trouble than we're already in with this. Rick, I really want to thank you for one, coming on the story of my friends and giving us an earful of your creative efforts and your creative endeavors. It's inspirational out there. Knowing how hard it is to bring any bit of creative work from idea to realization, it's just a pain in the fucking ass, no matter what you're doing. But in order to get it done and then have it be a stage musical that you put on multiple times to sold out houses, congratulations on that. And so thank you for coming and detailing that experience. And then also thank you for being brave enough to share the indiscretions of your youth and youthful folly.
Yes. Well, I promise you that I've learned absolutely nothing since then.
Okay.
So I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have just connected and warmed the hearts of our listening audience, because just like them, they have learned absolutely nothing by listening to me. His musical, The Gold Top, which in early 2026 will be out in a musical theater again, in a playhouse here with Ian Ward helming. So you guys should absolutely go see that, and then check it out on his website, thegoldtop.com, to stay abreast of all that. And then also sharing his experience with taking an idea from that stage through inception and realization. And then actually, once you're done, like, you're not done when you're done. And that's the whole fucking thing. It's like when I wrote a screenplay, I was like, oh, I'm done. Like, that's it. I'm done. It's like, no, you're not fucking done. You know, you're one-tenth. You're 1/10 of the way done. And so, well, I had to learn how to write that. And like, yeah, that was hard, right? I was like, yeah, it was real hard. And I had to write it. It's like, yeah, that's hard, right? And you had to edit it. It's like, yeah, that's hard, right? Yeah. Well, now you're still only 1/10 of the way done. And that's just what it is with this. Anything you have inside you, those creative efforts that need to come out, is you're sort of fucked, you know, in a way. You chase that muse. Right. So thank you for talking us through that. And I'm excited for whatever's next for that. And then also for sharing your cocaine cowboy days, unscrupulous youth, which is very fun. Thank you.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn more about how to make synthetic cocaine, do not, I repeat, I can't stress this enough, do not send us an email. I cannot respond to that question other than to say, consult your local authorities who like to sell that stuff outside the back door.
It was great to be here. Not only, of course, check out the Gold Top, but I would say, this is unbidden, check out this podcast, because what I like about it, and I just really got a feel from it from doing it, is that there was a filmmaker a long time ago, not that long time ago, named Jonathan Demme.
Oh,
Jonathan Demme in
I'll
his
take
early
it.
movies had these weird, freaky things where people did weird, freaky things, and they were all connected through these weird, freaky things, and that was okay.
Yeah.
And that's what this podcast is. It's a Jonathan Demme movie. It's like,
Yeah.
who the freak did this, or who the hell did this? And then we all talk about it, and maybe someone else did that with that. And there's all this branching narrative that goes out into life itself, as opposed to, I'm dating on a dating app,
Yeah.
or all that, the crappy where we've ended up.
Yeah, the hyper focus we have on a singular topic. Like, if you want to build an audience and you want to monetize an audience, you have to pick a lane. It's like, oh, I'm the sit up king. It's like, well, fuck. What happens if you don't want to talk about sit up?
Exactly.
I'm fucked. So you become monomaniacal
Exactly.
intentionally because the internet told you had to be monomaniacal.
What kind of company are you going to be to the people who don't give a shit about that? It's like, oh my God, he's not
Yeah.
going about the sit-ups again.
You're getting at the reason for the show. It's like, hey, it's nice to get together and talk to each other. I feel that in this world today, people are brusque and they brush past each other. And in one breath, you'll hear somebody exclaim that there is an epidemic of loneliness, that people are living through an epidemic of loneliness. And then I walk down the street and people are looking directly at their phones, their necks craned at a horrific angle, stumbling down the road, almost bumping into each other. And I think we've lost our ability to see the other through anything beyond whatever specific lens we happen to be wearing at that 30-second period. And our thoughts and our feelings are being gamified and commodified to such a high degree that people aren't experiencing their authentic emotions anymore. And I don't know. I like bullshitting. I got the gift of gab. I like talking to people. I want to see people who are not lonely. I want to see people who are comfortable in public spaces. And if we have to reintroduce that to people, if we have to find a way to hold a hand or be like, hey, you should go out and talk to somebody. You should do this or you should do that. And like, hey, it's not that hard. It's not that tough. It's not scary. It just takes a little bit of your time and energy. And which is why I'm thankful for people like you who've gifted your energy into this freshman effort. I can't promise you that a single person will listen to this, but you just showed up and spent an hour and a half with me talking. A handful of other people have done that. That's like a gift to be able to do that. Does every conversation need to be captured and listened to and chopped up and refined and monetized? No, not at all. The fine art of conversation is something that I think we've slowly been missing from each other. So thank you very much for joining me.
Of course.
That's our show for today. The Story of My Friends is a production of JF3 Co. LLC, produced by Joe Friend. We'd like to thank Ric Krause, Joshua Funk, and the performing artists of The Gold Top for their music in this episode. Full credits and attribution for The Story of My Friends can be found on our website, thestoryofmyfriends.com. Special thanks to our associate producer, Erica Lowe Shin, to the creators of the clips and whiz-boings used. Questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, ideas, send us an email, listener@tsomf.com. Until next time.
We had a wolf, half dog named Morgan who came to stay with us whenever we felt like
Interesting. Your spirit animal?
Our spirit animal.
He's like, I encourage you to go make cocaine.
We were living on the cheap. We were very...
The Duke still asks, what swell Sinatra shall I spin for you?